Hello do-it-yourselfers. This is a 2013 Elantra, and today we're going to change the gear shifter. Show you how to take apart the console, put it all back together. There are a few basic tools. You can do this yourself. So let's get started. First step is to take a pry tool such as this, and you'll want to remove the trim around the gear changer. Once you get started, it's easy to pry it off. You just grab the bottom, carefully pull it out, and there we go. The whole piece is off. You'll see there's a screw over here. We need to loosen that up, take that out, but right now let's get the other side off. Grab it, and simply pull up, and the whole thing comes off. Next thing we want to do is remove this screw over here, this screw over here, but before we start that, we need to remove this knob. You push this down, just get a screwdriver in there, and there's a small clip. Once you've pushed this part, the chrome piece, down from the knob, you'll see this small clip. I'm taking it off at the moment. It's lying right here. It just snaps in on the side. This is what holds the knob in place. Once this is out of the way, you can simply pull the knob off, set it aside, pull the chrome piece up, and the next step will be to take these screws out and remove this section here. I've removed the screw from this side. I've removed the screw from this side. We're now ready to pry the bottom off. Simply get your pry bar in, pry up, and you're ready to lift the whole piece right out. Just have to bring the gear knob down, close the door. There are a few wires in here and connectors that you want to loosen up, but I'll just put it back into gear for now. Disconnect this connector. Disconnect this one over here as well. And we have free access to the gear shifter. And the next step is I'll show you how to take it out. There's a few screws we need to remove. This one here, this one here, this one over here, and this one here. And then we will remove the console. The next step we want to do here is we want to remove this screw, this one here, so that we can remove the panels on the side, remove the console. But first let's just pry this part out here. It's just in front of the parking brake lever, so that we can get the rear console off, this part here. Next thing we're going to do is take these screws out. Let's get going. So in order to remove this part of the console, we need to lift up your access door. You'll see there's a piece of carpet at the bottom. You just need to reach down with your hand, pull this piece of carpet out, and you will see two number 10 screws. You just need to loosen those up. Let's do this right now. With these two number 10s loosened up, I can now pull them out with my hand. And here we go. Just set them aside so you don't lose them. Put your lid cover back down, and you're simply ready to pull everything right out. And simply just roll it back. Put it in the back seat so it's out of the way. Now we have everything exposed. We just need to remove the side cover over here. I've removed these two screws and these two over on this side. Now we just need to pry this up just to bring it out of the way so we have access to the bolts. Pry this one over. There's one more screw we need to take off. If we want to take this panel off, it's not necessary to change the lever out. But I'm going to take this off because I'm doing other work over here, changing airflow door for the heating system. But for now we're just talking about the gear shifter exchange. So let's just remove that side panel. There is a screw down by the gas pedal. Once I've removed that screw, I can simply pull this side panel off. With the side panel removed, you can see that we have a lot of exposure. Everything's easily accessible, and we simply need to remove this clip here, and we can pull the cable out. This is easy to remove as well. You simply pull back and pull up, and it'll snap out. But first I want to remove or loosen these bolts, and then we'll take this cable off, make sure everything's good with the cable. A little dirty down there, but we'll pull the vacuum out and get that cleaned up as well since it's all apart. And the next step is we shall remove the cable, and then we'll take this gear changer out and exchange it and put the new one in. I found the problem with my old shifter right here. Let me just show you. There should be a little roller ball in there, so as the gear shift moves back and forth, it locks into these grooves. That piece is missing. The next step, now that everything has been removed, we've disconnected our connectors. We've disconnected the cable from this source here. We're ready to loosen up these bolts. There's 4 of them. And then we can remove the whole shifter and put our new shifter in. Let me remove those bolts. These bolts here are number 12 socket. I have loosened all 4. We're ready to lift the old shifter right out. And there we go. With the old shifter out, very worn looking, we can put the new one in. Just clean things up a little bit here first, and let's proceed to the next step. The new gear shifter is in place. I've made my connections. This is what shows us the gears you're in: park, reverse, neutral, and drive. So I made sure to connect that because I want to check that to make sure it works before I put everything back together. These wires here are for this part up here. Made my connection down here. Reattached your transmission shift cable. Made sure to put the click back on. Now we're just going to test it. Make sure that everything's working as it should. Let's have a look-see. Put my foot on the brake. Reverse. Neutral. And drive. So the lights are working as they should. I can now put everything back together.